All right, so we're now going to join these two cups of what's going to become the snout. And I just wanted to show you how to do that. So this is cup number 1. And what I do just to make sure that I'm getting all of the stitches around is I mark my first and last stitch of the round so that I don't have to count every time I'm going around to make sure that I'm hitting all of my stitches. For some reason, as I join them, I just kind of lose these first and second ones a little bit. So that's helpful for me. You certainly don't have to do that. So this is the cup number 2 that I just finished. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my first and last stitch of this one as well. This is round 7, so I'm marking the first and last stitch of round 7. And so what I'm going to do now is I am going to pick up straight away, and you can join anywhere along the first cup that you would like. I am going to go ahead and join in this stitch right here just so I can take out one of these stitch markers. I'm going to join in this second one here, and then I'll end with that one. So I am going to just start straight away, and this is going to be my first stitch of round 8. So I'm going to pick up my same working yarn, and I'm going to make a single crochet, and that's going to be my very first stitch of round 8. I'm marking that one with a different color so that I know the first round, or the first stitch of round 8. All right, so now I'm simply going to single crochet around. So we've just joined those two together. I'm going to single crochet around until I get over to this other side, and I'll place a single crochet here, and I'll join across and place a single crochet into this one and complete the round 8. All right, so I'm just going to keep on single crocheting around, and I will meet you around at the other side. All right, I'm making my round to the opposite side of the cup here. I reached the other side, so this is where I began over here. I made my way around the first cup. I'm gonna go ahead and take out this stitch marker, which was the last stitch I made of this cup here. Place a single crochet there, and then skip across to this side, and I'm gonna place my first single crochet of this cup over here. Okay, so I've just joined the opposite side. I'm going to continue around the top, or the rest of the top of round 7 here, and make my last single crochet in this green stitch marker right here, which will be the last stitch of round 8. So I will meet you there. All right, I'm making my way around to the very last couple stitches of round 8 here. Got one stitch prior to the stitch marker, and then this is my last stitch marker of the round. I'll go ahead and pull that one out and make my last stitch of round 8. Okay, and then again, that red one was the very first stitch of round 8. And there you have it. So this is going to become the little bottom part of his snout where the tusks attach onto. It's going to end up kind of going onto his face like this after we complete it and stuff it. And the little tusks will come out from the bottom of them here. Hey guys, all right, we are meeting here at the beginning of the tutorial at round 16 of the walrus. So you have started with your magic circle and you've made increasing rounds all the way up for 16 rounds, and now we are about to start round 17. So I just wanted to give you a visual of what we're going to be accomplishing here. So what's going to happen at round 17 is your circle at this point is almost sort of like a hexagon. So you can kind of see the 6 sections here of the hexagon that is created when you do your increases around. And what's going to end up happening with this next round for 17 is we're going to crochet 64 single crochet all the way around, which is basically like crocheting 64 around these 4 first sections of this hexagon. And then we're going to fold the circle like a taco, and we're going to connect right here. So you're basically going to have one section of 4 sections of the hexagon, and then this other section is the remainder 2. This we are going to begin to build on, which will become the head, and this section over here will become the tail. So what's going to happen now is I am going to begin single crocheting all the way around to the tip of this hexagon kind of tip over here, and I will meet you there, and then I will show you how to connect, how to do your taco fold and how to connect those properly so that you can get started off with the rest of the belly and the head. All right, so go ahead and start straight off where you left off after round 16 and make 64 single crochets. All right, so we have completed round 17, so you have 64 stitches around. And what we're going to do now is we are going to fold this circle into like a taco shape, and we are going to join the two sides, and then that is what's going to separate the walrus from the head portion and what will become the tail portion. So what you're going to do at this point is you are going to fold this taco. Here's where you began your first stitch of the 64. Here's where we ended. Fold the taco right side in, just right side in. And what you're gonna do is pick back up where you took your hook off of the loop. And we are going to make 4 slip stitches to connect these two pieces together. We want those slip stitches to be on the inside so you can see, you know, a nice clean seam on the outside. I'll show you what that's going to look like. So I'm going to scroll in a little bit here. So I'm going to pick my hook up, or sorry, pick my yarn up right where I left off. And I am going to start in this very next stitch here. This one here. I'm going to be placing my hook through this here, and then I'm going to be taking that stitch marker out, and I'm going to be placing my hook through that stitch, and I'm going to yarn over and create a slip stitch, and then continue on by creating 3 more slip stitches connecting the two. So we're placing the hook under both loops, under both stitches, and creating a slip stitch there, okay? So I am going to pick up my yarn. I'm going to take that stitch marker out. I'm going to keep lining those up. Okay, and I'm going to go straight into that first stitch, picking up both loops, and right into where that stitch marker was, both loops. I'm going to yarn over and complete a slip stitch. Okay, so that is joining the taco with the first stitch. And then I'm going to do 3 more slip stitches right in the same way under those next 2. So under both loops from both sides of the circle there. Slip stitch for 2. 3 and 4. Okay, so now before I turn my work right side out again, I'm going to make a chain. Just make it real nice and tight, okay? Now just pull out a little bit of yarn because you're going to pick that back up again, but we are going to take our hook off and we're going to turn the walrus right side out. I'll show you what that's going to look like on the outside here. And so now what you have is this little seam that you've created that's going to separate this portion here, which is going to become the head, and then this back portion here, which is going to become the tail. And so you just kind of create a little bit of a section of the body across the back there. All right, so now what we're going to do is going to pick that loop, find that loop where you just made your chain underneath. Where did it go? There it is. All right, we're just going to pick straight away with our yarn, and we're going to continue on with the head portion, okay? So this next round is going to begin right in that very first stitch, and you're going to have 60 stitches going around here, and you're going to be working those 60 stitches in a continuous round for quite a while, and then for that we'll come back and we'll begin doing the tails. And the next time I'm going to see you is when we're going to start putting on the face. So put on his little muzzle and his tusks, we'll do some stuffing, do his eyes, and then we'll close up the head. Leave you off to start just continuing on with the little walrus's head, and I will see you when we are ready to put on the face. All right, so let's check in on our little walrus here. So I just wanted to kind of walk through some logistics of putting on the face and check in with you at this point. So right now you have completed the tail portion. So I recommended stopping somewhere along here on this body part to do the tail. And the reason why I did that before I put the face on is because it just kind of gives me, it's easier for me to kind of find that central place on the walrus's body of where exactly the face should go on. Without the tail, I just had a harder time kind of seeing it all come together. So that's of course completely optional, but once you kind of start getting the body going, I do recommend stopping at some point and starting with a new ball of yarn to do the tail, or just snipping and rejoining over here for the tail. So, okay, so we've got the tail complete, and we're gonna put on the face, all right? So at this point, what I've done is I have stopped around row 39 or 40, doesn't make a huge difference, so that you can put on the face before you finish the head. Okay, so I've stuffed it a little bit. I'm using a recycled polyester, recycled polyfill. And what I would recommend is putting on your eyes first before you do this, because it's just a lot easier. You at that point, you probably won't even need to pin the muzzle on to sew him on. But the eyes go in between rounds 35 and 36, and I've spaced mine by 7 stitches in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and lock and load those. Okay, so there's the eyes. Okay, so you've got your little snout. This is going to be the back, the part where you have your sort of more of the tapered end of the nose is going to be the front, and then it gets wider across the top and towards the back. So that's going to be the back. Okay, so I'm going to take my tapestry needle with a long length of brown yarn, and you're going to line the nose up centered between the eyes there, and the top of this nose you want to be basically lined up right with row 34 at the top of the nose. Okay, so I'm gonna, here, should I just show you my sketch? Here's my sketch. Okay, so this is row 34 right here. And you just want that nose to be lined up, like right at the very top of that, right at the very center part of that row. I kind of go through the open part of the head, back and forth, and you're gonna wanna sew it really, you know, nice and securely onto the face. Basically, you know, on the back here, the whole way around, along the inside of the body, and secure that snout nice and tight onto that face so it's not, you know, wobble wobbly. Actually push the tapestry needle through the back right where I want it on the face, and actually push it all the way through the snout to the front and pull it through like this. And then when you bring it back in, you just want it to like mirror a stitch. So you either want to go through a hole right above it or a hole right below it, just so it doesn't, you know, you're not going to want to bring it like, whoa, way over here. You just want it to put your needle back in right down the next hole to the back. And don't do it too tight, just pull it just enough to where it's on the surface. You don't want it to show through. Bringing it through the back, all the way through to the front of the little muzzle, out through a stitch. Okay. Snip that so it doesn't cause trouble when you're trying to stuff it, but you can just throw your little yarn tail in, use that as stuffing too. Okay, so at this point what I'm going to do is I'm really going to just start stuffing down into the belly, into this tail area, and just really stuff it and shape it until I get the shape that I am looking for. All right, so I'm gonna stop stuffing there, close to the top, and go ahead and finish up. And when you get to the last, you know, like 1 or 2 rounds from your very top of the head where you're gonna close it up, just do one final stuff, one final shape, make sure that you're happy with it. All right, so it is time to sew on this little guy's flippers onto the front of his body. So I've gone ahead and finished one of them here so you can see how it goes. And then I will show you how to pin and sew the flippers on. So what you're gonna do is you're going to count down from the top, or however you wanna count. I just counted backwards from the top. And you're gonna pin the flippers over rounds 20 to 18. So the top part kind of angled back like this. So this top one here is row 20, and then you have row 19 here where this pin is, and 18 here. So you just want it to be angled down just a little bit. And you already have your yarn here that you're going to use. This was the long tail that you snipped when you finished the last round. All right, and then what I do is I bring it down about 7 rows, and I also pin along this row here. This is between row 6 and 7, or not row 6 and 7, but backwards 6, between 6 and 7 from the last row that you made, and pin along here too, because we're gonna kind of secure this whole little kind of rectangular area onto the body so that it can open from the bottom, but it's not too floppy. So this part right here is secured, so you can see that part doesn't move. So then when he sits up, his little leg will bend appropriately. Okay, so that's kind of how you get your setup. So go ahead and do that. I'm gonna get my tapestry needle on here, and I will show you how to secure that little flipper on. And there you have it. 2 little flippers. If this video was helpful for you, please click the like button below and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And don't forget to sign up on my website, offthebeatenhook.com, so we can keep in touch and where you'll be the first to know about new patterns, resources, and video tutorials. See you next time.